Welcome back to the Davy Brown 990 restoration. For those of you new, my name is Barry. Today, as we said yesterday, we are going to have a go using the silicone bronze wire in my MIG welder, and we are going to play with, I've only got a couple of little bits of scrap steel, little bits of steel that we've got kicking about that we're going to try and braze together using the MIG welder, and an old piece of bonnet. I need that piece off the back, but I cannot take it off the back till I've done this little job, because I know I'll bend and bugger this up getting that off. So we'll get that off once we've messed about today. So let's start by setting my welder up for that 0.8 wire. Let's crack on. Right, let's start by taking the old wire out and swapping the rollers over. We'll take off the nozzle. Nice pair of MIG pliers would be nice, wouldn't it? Put that in there loose. There we go. There we go. Now we'll take our spool off, but trying to avoid the bird's nest. And what you don't want is the wire on this roll going slack. And now we're just going to put that back on the roll, observing where the ends are. Right, so I've got on there, haven't we, our designation. This is the people that came from static arc, 0.6mm, 1 kilo roll. Same people I got this one off. So now let's swap my rollers over in here. Because these are sized, the twin grooves in here are sized 0.6, 0.8, so we need the 0.8 out towards us. Put that back in, put a little colour on, put that back in. Next thing, put a silicone wire in. MIG Brazing silicone bronze 0.8 1 kilo roll. Side cutters again. When we open this up, what you need to avoid is the big spring. Make sure we can get our centre bit through. Wire needs to unroll off the bottom obviously and go into a little spring in there. Keep my hands on my wire. Now we'll put Got friction plate on. A spring back on. A tensioner. Okay. Next little job, get the wire through the nozzle, put the tip back in. In order to do that, we need to pop our welder on. Pull the trigger. There we go. Wire through. 0.8 contact. Put that into there. Nip. Do that a clean out. And Bob's your uncle. Torch back together, ready to go. Next little job. Gas. Bottle of Argon gas. Okay, in order to keep my Argon gas upright, I just strap it to the pillar of that drill for the minute. What I will get, I'll get a tube that I can pop them into, and I'll work out some way of attaching the tube to the welder so I can pop it into there. I might even make a little trolley for it, but it's just one more thing on the floor, isn't it? Right, let's get that gas put in over here. Little interlude there. Had to take a very important phone call from my son. Right, back on the job. Right, welder set up. Wires in. Rollers changed. Feed rollers changed. Nozzles all set up. Gas is on. We need to now set our parameters. For the voltage, they reckon 15 to 17 volts is a good starting point. And you see what your results are from there. Gas flow 7 to 9 litres per minute. So let's get our gas turned up. So I'm going to set this at 6. And then we will squeeze the trigger. Make sure we have got a flow rate of 6. So up the front of our welder here, we've got 17 volts, 4 meters per minute welding wire. They're the and another important thing, positive electrode, same as for MIG welding with gas. So your gun is the positive side of the system. Right, that's the welder setup. Our gas is on, working beautifully. Wire through the gun. What we need to do now is we'll get set up on my little bench here and we'll have a go brazing, see what it turns out like. Let's have a look at our little setup here, what we've got. Then I'm going to take my microphone off because I don't like welding next to my microphone for the noise and the electrical outputs. So it's going to go quiet for a minute. Let's have a look at what we've been setting up here. A couple of bits of my scrap steel put together with a straight edge together. We're going to just start at one end and come along and see what it looks like. We've got a metal plate underneath to stop the heat soaking through into the woodwork. It might be that it takes too much heat, and I've got my earth clamp onto my metal clamps. Right, let's get you set up where you can see what's going on. Let's crack on and get it brazed. And it says as well in the recommendations that you push the puddle, you don't pull it. In other words, if you're going to weld braze that way, you will be pushing your torch along. So let's have a look and see what we're doing here. You go this way. I think if anything, I need to turn my wire feed down a little bit. Where the little tacks were, there and there, looking good. That's looking as if it hasn't gone in, but this one has because I started moving a bit faster here. Quick rub with the wire wheel. You do seem to get, where's my hat? You get a lot of soot coming off it. Now, I don't know if the soot is possibly that the argon gas isn't through the pipe yet, but I'll tell you what, let's have another look at that now I've cleaned it up. That is pretty damn good for a very first attempt, isn't it? The steel obviously still bends because you're putting that much heat into it. I've got a cut here where I've cut through with the grinding wheel. We'll go and see if we can fill that in, but we'll do it in tacks rather than in a weld format, and see if we can fill that in without causing so much deformation. I'll tell you what it looks like through the visor, guys. It looks like there's a flame coming off the end of the electrode to the metal, and I think with a bit more practice you'd make some really nice tidy jobs with that. Let's have another go. No, I'll tell you what, let's try brazing some old metal to new metal and see what sort of results we get with that, eh? Right, let's go with old metal to new metal. Let's turn our power down, I think. And more wire feed. The little tacks are good. It's pulled over the top here. The metal is pulled over the top. That one's totally missed, but that one, that's got a hole. That's good. The little tacks at the top, they seem to be working better, and I'm just wondering if that's because it's getting too hot. Right, guys, look, that's good and strong. That, as you can see, it is penetrating through the back. The first set we did, it was starting to penetrate there, which is that end of it. But where I started to move a little bit faster, it hasn't penetrated, but the little tack at the bottom did, the original tack. The slot quite obviously flowed through. What you've got to be careful of is when you're using backing material, that you don't stick it to the backing material. But I tell you what, for first attempts, I am pleased with that, very pleased with that. That looks a lot neater than my first attempts at MIG welding with that MIG welder. It wasn't as good, mind again, possibly because I had practice with this in order to get that. But I do like that run of braze there, it's gone in at both sides, penetrated both sides, and the back you can just see, I don't know if you can you? You can see it penetrating there, but it hasn't come through the way that one has. But as an alternative to welding, if you need lower temperatures, big possibility. But you have got to be careful because it still can blow holes in it. I would imagine just turning, what have I got that on? I've got that on 16 volts there. So you could go right down to the bottom end of the settings with that, and you would end up with something reasonable. But as far as like new to old, that is solid as a rock, that. Absolutely solid. So, as far as brazing with a MIG welder goes, I am over the moon with the results of that. Definitely chuffed to bits. It's now an alternative, isn't it? So instead of welding holes up, we can braze the holes up. However, when we brazed that on top of that steel plate, it did stick, but just in tiny bits, just a tiniest tap with a hammer broke it off. I would imagine if we stuck a copper backing plate in there, it would get a hold pretty damn quick. I think a bit more practice is required. I would love to have loads more thin pieces of steel to practice on, because obviously, like I said previously, welding is one of those skills that's acquired only by practice. It cannot be done theoretically. You cannot read a book and weld. Just doesn't work that way, guys. You know that, don't you? You know that. I'm over the moon with the results. What we're going to do now is we're going to swap everything back. We're going to get that patch made up that we cut out of there yesterday. The surface of the moon. We're going to take it out of that piece and we will get everything welded back together on that. Right guys, thanks very much for visiting today. As always, your time is greatly appreciated when you come visiting us, messing about in my garage, trying new things out. Don't forget, if you see something that I'm doing wrong, let me know in the comments. If you've got any advice to offer regarding the brazing, improving the brazing, you may have had a lot of experience or any experience of brazing, let me know. It helps all of us. Doesn't just help me, helps all of us. Right guys, that's it. Thanks very much. But remember, don't overthink it. It's only nuts and bolts. Catch us in the next one. Ta-ra now.